I would request our next speaker, uh, Professor Umesh Rao Hodeghatta. Sir is the Chief Data Scientist at New Sigma U2 Analytics Lab, USA, and a renowned faculty at Kent State University and Walden University, USA. Sir is an acclaimed professional with more than 20 years of work and teaching experience in the field of machine learning, natural language processing, and business analytics. Currently, he is working as a data scientist specialized in AI, machine learning, and NLP. Research and development products and solutions are his key focus areas. He has his master's degree in EE from Oklahoma State University, USA, and PhD from Indian Institute of Technology, Kharagpur, with a specialization in machine learning and NLP. He has held senior management positions at Xavier Institute of Management, Bhubaneswar, McAfee, Cisco Systems, and AT&T Bell Laboratories, USA. He has recently established IBM Big Data Analytics Lab and HP Research Lab at Xavier University. Sir has published many articles in international journals and conference proceedings. Dr. Hodeghatta has contributed his services to many professional organizations and regulatory bodies. He was an executive committee member of IEEE Computer Society at India, academic advisory member for Information and Security Audit Association, USA, IT advisor for Government of India, technical advisory member of the International Neural Network Society, India, advisory member of Task Force on Business Intelligence and Knowledge Management. He is also a senior member of IEEE USA. These are a few of the publications of Sir: Business Analytics Using R, A Practical Approach, the InfoSec Handbook, and R, A Business Analytics Using R Programming in Chinese Language. Without further delay, I would request Umesh Rao sir to begin his deliberation and provide his insightful views on the business analytics domain to our students and our participants. Umesh Rao sir.
Thank you so much for such a nice introduction. That was a lengthy introduction anyway. Good evening, everyone. For me, there is a 12 hours of difference right now. I just woke up an hour back, probably. So I just have a slightly different agenda. Basically, I am going to talk about some of my experience in terms of how we have helped the organization to drive digitalization using the data and of course some of the business analytics and machine learning technologies, so which I will be talking about. I hope you will, my audio is clear and you will be able to hear. If not, just let me know. This is the agenda. I would straight away go into some of the case example, and then I will briefly talk about some of the career opportunities, since most of you are in the management school and working on some of your business analytics agenda. So I just thought I would, let me turn on my video for a second. Yes. I just thought I would spend some time talking about the career opportunities that you have in analytics. Then at the end, we'll take some Q&A session. We hear this lot of different terms. So one of the things that you should be clear when you enter into the industry is to understand these different terms about the business analytics, data science, predictive analytics, AI, machine learning, big data analytics. So there are a lot of terms and there are a lot of technologies that have been talking around, and you should try to understand what are those terminologies, how each one of them differ, or how they are interrelated to each other. So another thing that you should find out, it's food for thought, is it an automation or is it programming? Is it a lot of mathematics, or it is just another kind of an algorithm to solve a different kind of a problem? So this is something I'm not going to discuss today, but as a business analytics and data scientist, so you should try to find out these different terms, what it means. Let us talk about how business analytics is driving digitalization. I will straight away talk about some of the work that I have done, and then that may help you to better understand so how business analytics is actually driving digitalization, and what is the significance of business analytics in today's world. The first example I would like to take is the HR. I spent quite a bit of time when I met the CEO of the company about 4 or 5 years back. So he had a very ambitious plan about how we can go about understanding the job market in United States. So we initially started with United States, and some of the questions that we wanted to solve is predicting the job outcomes, such as how many people are available in the market and how much time it takes to fill the jobs, so which are advertised by the companies, and what would be the salary, an average salary. So then the predictive market modeling we wanted to build is hiring and wage rate predictions. So having already the data, so today the companies have enormous amount of data, and as you can see in the market, there are so many jobs are advertised and so many people have been employed. And if we are able to capture, and if we are able to work with some of the companies and get the data, which if then we will be able to build some of these predictive model, so that the business executives in the company who are trying to recruit will be able to make better decisions. So they have all this data available in the company, and but they do not know how hard it is to recruit people, where to find the people, what kind of skills are available in which states. If I want to go and advertise my job, is it a good idea to advertise in California, San Francisco, or certain skills are available in Los Angeles or in Atlanta, Georgia, or in New York City. So is there any way we would be able to get this existing data to predict a marketing model? So that was our idea, and then we were able to successfully build. So starting from scratch, including getting the data, talking to the customers, talking to the different recruiting companies, talking to all the companies. So we were able to successfully get the data and then build the model. So essentially, we are able to build a job catalog with an intelligent mapping, with the map of the titles, descriptions of the consolidated lexicon of jobs. And as we went through the journey, so we started the journey with some of these big vision. And again, one of the major things in business is customers will drive your business. So we start with something, but essentially, the customers are the one who is going to pay the money, and they will tell exactly how to go about it. And we end up doing certain things, make sure the customers are happy. One of the things in our journey was the customer wanted just the data, access to the data. And they said, you just give access to the data and we will prepare whatever the report and whatever the model that we would like to do. And then we have developed the API to support that particular data, access to the data. So we have two models. One is the subscription model, where you get all these reports on a monthly basis. And the another model is you just have access to the data. So this is the company, greenwich.hr. You can go to this company. It will give you all the information related to the job market. Basically, if you look at this chart, this is recently published in Yahoo Finance. Companies are hiring again, even in this COVID period. So we would like to figure it out which companies are hiring and what exactly is happening in terms of the job market, who is losing the job. So if you look at this plot closely, you may not be able to see the entire thing on the right side. So I have these services, transportation, wholesale. So at the bottom, the IT is still hiring. There are a lot of jobs in the field of IT right now. So this is one of the project that we worked, and there are many other things that are related to the HR analytics in terms of the performance, in terms of understanding the attrition. So I have worked on several such projects. So the next project, so which is a very interesting project. So what we call it as AI chatbot. So what is AI chatbot? Probably most of you have used it. Whenever you log into any of the website, so automatically there will be a window pops up saying that, can I help you? And then you started chatting with an agent. So this is based on the machine learning because one of the AI chatbot, I will come to the advantage of AI chatbot. Before that, I just would like to talk about what is an AI chatbot. Basically, it is an interaction with a virtual agent, which is as if you are talking to a real agent. So instead of going through the wait period of talking to an agent, answering some of the very common questions, so you will be talking to a virtual agent, which will provide you the simple answers if without any delay and with more efficiency. So I will talk about what are those advantages of using an AI chatbot. So an example I have shown here, one of the chatbot. I would like to order pizza, and it will ask you what kind of pizza that you are looking for. You can say thin crust or thick crust. So then what toppings that you want. It will ask you a set of questions, and then how would you like to pay? Credit card, and then you go ahead and pay. Everything is done through the virtual agent. So you don't have to call a pizza company, or even you don't have to go through that enormous process in the online ordering, and chatbot will take your order, and then it will ask you one after the other questions, and then you are done with your order. So you are it's all and automated. Similarly, what we try to automate at one of the largest wireless company in the United States is to automate the information related to your mobile phone, mobile access. Let's say you are using your data, you're using your voice, and you would like to know what are the new plans that are coming, or can you move to some other plan from your existing plan. So these are some of the information that you would like from your mobile service provider, and then we developed what is called as an AI chatbot, which would automatically provide you that information. So how it helps to the companies? Basically, it will reduce the customer wait time, it is speed, and then it will also reduce the cost. So for example, what we have analyzed is if it costs about $8 to $25 for an agent in an hourly basis, so you would end up spending about 25 to 40 cents. And then it will improve your operational efficiency. Pretty much it can operate 24/7. You don't need any additional staff, and then there is no peak time. And it is pretty consistent, whether it is a voice, tone modulation, or messaging, or the way in which you communicate. There is no emotions attached, and it is pretty much consistency. So this is a big advantage of going to the AI, the chat chatbot. But what are the technologies that are involved? So this is an example of this chatbot. You have to sign in. So I did not take the actual snapshot of it. So this is just an example of, it will ask you, how can we help you? View your bill, reset your password, make a payment. So that's an example of an AI chatbot that I developed with one of the largest wireless company. So what are the components? The first, you have an interface. That is, it can be a voice or text. So today you may have seen Alexa or Siri or even the Google Assistant. So it's all voice modulated. So it will be converted into your text, and then you are analyzing the text. So you have large text, and then you have to do an analysis of the text. That is what is called natural language processing. And then you have to understand the flow. What is the context of the discussion? So whether you are ordering a pizza or you are trying to get information of your mobile service. So that is, you have to understand what is the flow of your business. And then you have to come up with the intent and entity, what we call it as intent and entity. So that is a set of possible questions and what is the expected answers. And then based on this, you have to build your model. So that is what is some of these components of chatbot, and that is how you go about building this model. So now coming to, let me just check my time. Okay, I have 15 minutes. So right now, another major project that we worked is on healthcare. There are so many examples related to healthcare, and I will just would like to list some of the healthcare problems that many of the companies are working, and some of the problems that I also worked. So particularly when it comes to the insurance claims, there could be many frauds. So how do you detect the frauds? So is there a patterns that you see the claims that people apply? Are there any specific pattern? So you go to one hospital and then next day you are not happy. Then you go to some other doctor. Is there any patterns that you see? Is it possible to identify dissatisfaction of the patients? So at least in United States, so the biggest, I would not say problem, I would say more a challenge is, you do not know which doctor you have to go. So the doctors you select based on your insurance recommendation. There is something called network doctors and not network doctors, out of network doctors. So even with the networks doctor, you do not know which doctor is good. It's pretty much driven by the insurance company, I would say. So hence, so the companies thought, is there any patterns that we can see and then recommend a doctor? If you are in specific area, so this is the number one doctor, he has got highest ratings, or people are very happy with that, and then this is the number two doctor, number three doctor. So the culture in the United States is slightly different. It's your health information is very confidential. Let's say today I have a doctor's appointment after an hour from this meeting. So I will not discuss with anyone regarding that I have a doctor's appointment. Beyond doctor's appointment, I don't talk which doctor I am going, where I am going, what I am doing. It's very much very private individual. So hence, I would not like to discuss with any of the friends saying, hey, do you know this doctor I'm going, I have this problem. So I would never discuss. So because of the confidentiality and privacy, all these things you will study in your information security. So that is very, very relevant in United States, very relevant. Because of that, insurance companies thought, is there any other mechanism we can recommend a doctor? So one of the things we try to find is based on the claims, we try to find a pattern. So for example, I go to a hospital today, and let's say I am not happy with this doctor, and probably after 2-3 days, I go to a different doctor, or maybe next week I go to a different doctor. I will not do a follow-up with the same doctor next time. That means there may be I am very unhappy. So if there are many such patterns you see where the patients are going and changing the doctors quite often, so maybe his recommendation will go down. So this is just an example of what are the problems that healthcare industry has today, and what are the problems that they are trying to solve. So similarly, clinics and hospitals, machine translation is a big thing. So particularly the conversation between the doctor and the patient. So if it can be dictated, or it can be recorded in their chart, so that when they go next time, so they will be able to see all those conversations. And then image recognition, is there any way if doctors can be assisted with some of the X-rays, looking at the X-ray instead of going through a lot of these X-rays are already available with certain specific problem. And if a machine learning can predict based on the data what they have with a certain disease, so then that will be pretty much assisting the doctor. Still, the final decision has to be taken by the doctor. I would not trust an AI to recommend me what medicine I should take. So at least these systems will assist the doctor in expediting the process. So that is where things are going here in the United States. So very interesting. There are already systems are in place. So similarly, when it comes to the members who are applying for the claim, so is there any way we can identify similar members? So essentially, it is to identify the fraud. If one person is claiming like 2-3 times, so from different hospitals, so is there any way we can find the patterns and then identify the fraud? So fraud detection. And emergency services, is there any pattern members are misusing the emergency services, or is it truly an emergency and he's calling the ambulance? So these are some of the healthcare related problems that people are working, and I had an opportunity to work in one of the leading healthcare organization in Minneapolis. So as a part of this, just to give you an example, so we try to identify similar records. So that is part of identifying the fraud. And then we use the logistic regression, and then we use the support vector machine and linear discriminant analysis to perform this specific task. Basically, it's able to predict similar or distinct records, so that to identify the fraud. So another project which is very interesting, again, it falls right under the natural language processing, what we call it as this is one of the major software giant. You may all know the name, which is there right on in the slide. It is there. You should be able to see that name. So this company had a very interesting problem. There is something called online gaming, and this online gaming, people log in, whoever has got interest from various places. So you never know where they are logging in, and we will not know where they are playing the game. However, when they play the game, I'm not a game player. I don't know anything about the game. So they have a chat. They have a chat box, messenger, where they can talk to different players, just like how we are sending your questions to Professor Tripathi. So similarly, they can communicate on this messenger. And it so happened, some of those messages are very abusive in nature. So the online gamers used to get upset and they used to unsubscribe from the online portal. So which has what is the problem? The problem is uh, because of these abusive languages, people were upset and they were unsubscribing in terms of they are losing the money. So any unsubscription to their online game, companies started losing money. So company was very concerned. One is losing the subscription, so that is a problem. Second one is losing the revenue, and third one is they wanted to block the people who are the talking about this abusive language. So we performed we looked at the data of all this messenger, whoever is talking, and we try to do a what is called as a sentiment analysis, and then identify uh, people who are abusive in nature, and then we recommended to remove them from the system. So this was done manually entirely. There were 20-30 people working day and night to identify this manually. They were looking at each and every message and then trying to identify who is abusive and who is not abusive. And that was a very tedious process. And with the help of the AI machine learning, our sentiment analysis, they were able to reduce the manual operation, and then they were successfully able to deploy this in the field. Today it is in the field. I have another 8 minutes. I will try to wrap up quickly. Again, another project we're working right now. We are working on this is predicting risk while deploying in the cloud services. This is the major retail store in United States. Probably it is the Fortune number 4 or number 5, maybe number 3 right now. So we are using unsupervised and supervised machine learning techniques. I have, because of the time, I will not be able to go through all these projects. So I have pretty much either worked on or discussed or involved in some of these following projects. So big electric company in New York City wanted to predict what are the outages due to severe weather conditions, whether they were able to predict earlier. And then wireless company in New Jersey reading the billing and then trying to predict billing information. Cable company wanted to predict a possible equipment failures, right, that could happen, so that they can take action. Oil and gas industry, you will be surprised how oil and gas industry can also use some of this machine learning, and how your analytics is driving, again, digitalization. So predicting, optimizing drilling strategy. So very interesting problem. So electronic retail store, they wanted to use machine learning and AI to find out an online selling strategy. Who, based on the number of clicks and based on other parameters, they wanted to fix the price, and then they wanted to have a strategy. So marketing survey, they wanted to, in Chicago, Illinois, they wanted to predict the effectiveness of the marketing survey. Financial institution in New York City wanted to predict the data center server failures. So it's an IT. So similarly, pharmaceutical company, credit union. So I have pretty much touched most of the domain. So I would like to spend next 5 minutes talking about the career opportunities. Pretty much, if you have seen my presentation and my examples that I gave you, in almost every sector, so there is an impact of your business analytics, AI and machine learning, whether it is a design and development, so whether it is a manufacturing, whether it is a logistic, whether it is healthcare domain, whether it is an insurance domain, information technology, communications, if it is whether it is an energy domain, marketing and sales, human resources, governance. So pretty much I have listed most of the sectors here, but you take any sector, so there is a need for the analytics expert, and then there is an opportunity for you people. So the biggest thing is, one is to understand the data part. How do you find meaningful information from the data? The other part is to understand the domain. So both are important. So, however, as a business analytics expert, so you will not be able to know all the domains. So your knowledge is limited to understanding the data. So you have to work, you have to collaborate with the person in an organization who has got those expertise. So that is something that you got to understand, and you have to be prepared while you are looking for a job. And if somebody asks, so you should be able to tackle this question. So you will not be able to know, every sector while you are studying your engineering or management or business analytics course. Okay. And there are a lot of different opportunities and different roles when it comes to the job. So there is something called data engineer. So there is something called data analyst. So now there is a new term, machine learning engineer or machine learning coder. And there is something called data scientist. So essentially, they are different. However, they're all somewhat important roles. Some of the analytics in the data, Power BI, you have to data analysts, they expect you to know Power BI, Tableau, SPSS, SAS. So there are so many other tools. So which, if you know, so that will help. Again, some of these data analysts, they use these tools extensively. So data engineer, pretty much capturing the data, collating the data, cleaning up the data. So that would be the data engineer, accessing the database. So that would be some of the roles. So these roles are complementary yet different, but many people are confused in the industry. They call every role as a data scientist. So you have to be very careful and understand before what exactly your expertise are, or what is the role that you are looking for. There are several tools that are available. I will not go through in detail. Already, some of the other speakers have already spoken. So these are some of the market leaders. So you look at the Magic Quadrant of Gartner report. So that will give you what are the latest report that will tell you what are the tools that are there. Similarly, the open source, you have R and Python. There are many other open source libraries like TensorFlow, Keras, Theano, Caffe, PyTorch, H2O, NIME, Scala, Kafka, Spark. These are all big data analytics tools. So not every tool you will be able to learn, but at least some of the tools it will be nice to learn. So as you go through your learning process. So what is the future of AI and machine learning? There is an abundance of data and then computing power. So today you will be able to solve any complex problem because you have data and then you have computing power. So that's a big advantage that you have, and more you will hear about the AI and machine learning because of these two big advantage what we have today. And then vast application across industry. Pretty much, you can start from manufacturing process to self-driving cars. So all these things can be applied and can be looked at it. Huge potential for integration with the Internet of Things. That is another area, IoT, and drives detection and prediction across the industries, and potential for new specialized jobs across industries. This is creating, according to me, more jobs. So the jobs that are reducing are people who don't want to do or a mundane routine jobs. So actually this field has created more jobs, according to me. With that, I would like to hand it over to the next speaker. We can take the question and answer at the end. That's okay. So this is my email, umesh@mytechnospeak.com, or you can send it umesh@businessanalyticsr.com. And you can look at my website. We have a website, businessanalyticsr.com. So we frequently, we specialize with our New Sigma, we specialize in AI and machine learning solution. consultancy, and we conduct workshops very regularly. So you take advantage of these workshops. And if you have any questions, you can contact me anytime. With that, thank you very much, Professor Tripathi. I will hand it over to you.
Thank you so much, sir. Thank you so much, sir, for such an insightful and in-depth presentation with all the aspects of business management